Welcome. I'm so glad you could share the time with us today. I hope you're receiving a blessing. I have a project today that I think you're going to really like. I love it. I'm so excited about it, and I can't wait to show it to you. It will be another tool that you can use to share your care with other people. What the project is painted rocks. Here's one right here as a sample. I have, in many times in the past, heard the term pet rocks. And you might remember, if you're old enough, in the 70s, there was a short-term business that had to do with pet rocks. And what that was just taking an ordinary rock and painting it up or putting googly eyes on it or whatever, and then add some care instructions, and it was shipped out to the buyer in an air crate with air holes in it, and then you had a pet rock to take care of at home. That business went away in about 6 months, but the term has remained all these years. We're not doing exactly pet rocks, but we're doing a sharing rock, and this can be a very powerful little tool to help you show someone else encouragement, support, love, and many other things. I want to show you some samples so that you know what we're talking about here. I just did a few. I've been doing this just for a year. I'm just learning how. In fact, I had to research how to do it. But here's one that says, Jesus is my rock. Well, that's a little ironic because it's on a rock. You get the drift. But anyway, that's kind of a fun one. And by the way, if you think that you don't have talent to do this, well, if you know how to write your name, you're pretty much in. And there's not much to this. It's pretty simple. Here's another one that might bring a smile. And it's cheery, and it's bright colors. And I thought that, well, a daisy is all I can do. So I painted a daisy on there. You'll see samples online and different places, things you can copy. But wouldn't that be cute to sit on someone's desk? Here's one that says, kind words cost nothing. And what a powerful saying. There's a lot of unkind words floating around right now, and this could come in real handy. What about this one? Be beautiful. That says a lot. I like this one because it's kind of a bit of a pun. Need an ark? I know a guy. Now this one has some of the elements of the flood out of the Bible, which I like. And if you wanted, on the back, you could list the verse in the Bible or the verses in the chapter where this story is found, just in case this rock falls into the hands of someone who's never read the story. That's a good way to share the Bible. This one has our theme word for this year's spring retreat, and that is worship. It says, worship the Lord with gladness, Psalms 100, verse 2. So it's just on here in a decorative way, bright and cheery. It could remind someone about God and worshiping regularly, maybe devotions. Anyway, I thought that was a good way to share another verse from the Bible. This one might be my favorite. Faith can move mountains. This one was a real simple one to paint. It's mostly straight lines, a little bit of color, and then the saying. This one packs a real message. I don't know how well you can see it, but it says, hey, I've got your back. And you might be able to tell the little stick man. And like I said, you only need to know how to write your name in order to do these. Everybody can make stick people. And it really is a powerful thing. There's a lot of people that struggle with having emotional support. So the purpose of sharing rocks is to uplift and encourage and show care. That is the most important thing about this project. And there are certain things that you need to do, or that you need to have on hand to do this project. They're pretty simple. First of all, you need designs, and I highly recommend Pinterest and Google and the library and things like that to get ideas. There are hundreds of ideas out there. And another thing that I recommend is for you, when you choose your design, to draw it in a book. And I mean, you can draw it on paper, but it's a real good idea to keep your designs together in a book so that they're there for quick reference. This is my book. I just drew some little rock shapes and then laid out my designs that I wanted to do in a way that that would fit the rock. And then you have an idea. You're practicing your design. You have an idea on how to do the lettering and that kind of thing. So I would definitely recommend a sketchbook or a steno pad or anything like that that keeps your drawings together. Then you need a rock. And of course I brought a few rocks here. The rocks that you find need to be smooth. At least one side of them should be smooth. Smooth like a river rock. They should be washed and dried, and they dry quickly, and then they'll be ready for paint. Paint is a very, very important thing. This is the kind of paint in a little bottle and a regular brush. You'll also need a paper towel and a little cup to hold water. And this is how you're going to cover your rocks with the base color that you need to put on there. The important thing that you need to know about this paint is that it's outdoor paint. You can find it in craft stores or online. If you're looking for it online, Google rock painting paint. That will bring you to a variety of different ones. I have certain ones here that I've been using that I like a lot. These are my pens, and I'm also using this is just a box full of different colors of paint like this. This is not your regular acrylic paints that you would use in regular crafts. This is outdoor paint. So it's important that you know that. Outdoor paint protects the rock against, it protects your paints against fading from the sun. It also keeps the rain from dissolving the paint. And so it's very important that you have that. I had my little neighbor girl, who is 9 years old, a couple years ago painted some rocks for me, and she brought them over. I didn't tell her what designs or anything. This is the design that she made. It's been in my flower pot outside for a couple years, you can tell. And she didn't use words, but what word comes to your mind when you look at this? It's love. That has a powerful message right there. But in the same hand, I want you to know that this is not outdoor paint that she used. And she didn't spray it. You'll need to use a spray sealer when you're all through with your project. A spray sealer, this is just one that I got from the hardware store. It's Krylon Color Max, for instance. It is an outdoor sealer. That's very important. It will protect the paint and make it so your rock is easy to clean, and just keep it from fading even more. Okay, so another thing that you will need is a little color palette to mix your colors. And this one I got at the craft store for under $3. If you use a paper plate, be sure that it is plastic coated. That's very important. Another thing, you'll need a drying rack. This is one that my husband created. It's just a scrap of wood that he had and some screws, and he just put up screws in all different arrangements there to fit rocks. And the rocks dry on here, and they're not, they don't have any marks on them afterwards. When you paint your rocks, you're going to want to paint them all the way around, and so it's important that you have a way to dry them. They don't take very long to dry, but this is very important to have. Okay, so the other, another couple things that you will need are paint pens. You will notice, particularly in this rock, the little fine lettering and the fine lines on the mountains. When I looked at that the first time, when I was looking at designs online, I thought, there's no way I can do this craft, because after taking art classes, I know that I can't use those little tiny fine brushes and get the kind of lettering and the outlines that I need. And so what I found out when I researched was it's not a brush at all. The only time you use a brush is to coat your rocks, this layer of paint. But it's a fine tip pen, and these come in all different colors. I have them here in a box. This is just the brand that I'm using. There's a bunch of different colors in here. And then you also need a medium paint pen as well, and this one is to fill in small areas of paint. Or if you've seen designs online that have a lot of dots on them, then this is the one that you will use to make the larger dots with. So these are really important, and these are outdoor paint as well, so it's very important. Okay, the only other thing that you will need are of course, after your rocks, the only other thing you're going to need is family, friends, your children, your friends at work, maybe Pathfinder group, ladies group. Get together and make these rocks. It's so fun. The process is pretty simple. You will need to put 2 coats of paint on most every rock that you do for the base coat. Let it dry in between. If you're going to do a lighter color, such as this one has 3 or 4 coats on it. So you'll have to be aware of how they look, because if they're not coated very well, then the rock shows through. This one you can tell there's a little bit of dark showing through yet. It needs another coat. So two coats of paint at least on your rock. Then you'll want to take your fine tip pen and draw your design out on your rock if you want to. This little guy has a Bible verse at the bottom. He's a sheep, but it says feed my sheep. But you might want to take a fine tip pen and draw your design out if you want to, or a pencil, but I caution you on a pencil that you might scratch paint, so it might be better to just draw your design out. This is why your sketchbook is so good, so that you can practice your design ahead of time. Then you will take your medium pen and you'll fill in the colored areas that are needed, and you'll need to dry between each layer of colors or each outline. Each time you outline, you need to dry the rock in between. Most of the time outlines look better if you go over them one last time before you're finished, so that the lines are nice and straight and they're vivid. This one I made is for Easter, and it says His gift to you, and has the crosses on it. Anyway, there's just a huge variety of things that you can say and do. Your sketchbook is also a good place to collect favorite phrases, Bible verses, and keywords that you might want to put on the rocks. The last thing, when you get your design completed, you will want to seal it with the sealer, and you be sure that your paint is all dry, and then take this to a well ventilated room and lightly spray it twice on both sides. And by the way, your rock should be painted on both sides. This rock that my little neighbor friend made, she didn't paint the bottom sides, and it just gives a place for the rock to collect dirt, and the paint that gets on there can chip off easier. Anyway, 2 layers of the spray sealer, and it adds a little bit of brightness to the color and a little gloss, and it looks really nice. So for those of you who registered for this retreat, you'll be receiving a sheet in the mail with the mailing that comes with retreat information. And that is a sheet that tells all the instructions I just gave you, plus a few more tips and tricks at the end, a little more information on that sheet. But that way, when you're ready to do this with a group, you'll have the list of things that you need and everything to prepare for it. And hopefully that'll be a great help. I hope that you have fun. I hope that you use this craft. to reach other people. You can slip it to someone at work, put it on their desk when they're not looking. You can grab your friends one day and go out to parks, and you know these big pots sitting outside of restaurant doors, for instance. They have flowers and such in them. You can put rocks in there for people to find. There's a lot of different places that you can leave them for people. You never know who's going to find your rock and whose day you're going to brighten. So I hope you have fun with this, and I hope that you get a chance to use it. It's really fun. You'll feel good about it.